Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. It has to be said, not a happy Toon Review tonight after yesterday's performance. Billy's lost his facial hair because of it. Alex is, well, I don't know. I start shows at the wrong time these days and say that I advertise for 8 o'clock. I program it in for 7. I'm losing the friggin' plot, man. But anyway, there is a lot to go through tonight, so I expect the show to be quite spicy. Not so much because we lost, but of course, all the other bullshit that surrounds it, by the way. We've got a new member, Peter Rising. Thank you very much, Peter. Welcome to the Toon Review family, and thank you for your membership. We've also got a £4.49 super chat in from Brandon Watson. Thank you very much, Brandon. Much appreciated, my friend. No comment there, but thank you. Now, it was put out on quite a few different platforms yesterday about St. Maximin having a massive fallout with Eddie Howe, and he wasn't travelling. Now, this kind of bullshit, right, that people put out misleads fans, and it happens during transfer windows, it happens during all sorts of stuff, that it's absolute rubbish, right? Why would you want to mislead fans? The guy was ill. Just like Callum Wilson was a couple of weeks ago. And Maxi has to feel like he has to tweet out and everybody's misreading what he's tweeted out. That must be a good buy because what we've been told is he's had a massive fallout with Eddie. It's absolute crap. And these people need to stop doing it, right? Because it misleads people and it's not fair. Yes, have your channels and have your social media and things like that, but don't mislead fans. It's ridiculous, man. And it's out of hand now. Just to get subscribers and likes, it's ridiculous. And we will always stick to our guns on this channel. And we will say, look, we are not in the know here. We don't know what's going on. We will report on what the club tells us, right? What is official from Newcastle United. Yes, we can look at footballers around the world who are linked with Newcastle United. But again, on these transfer shows, we're not saying that they're signing at all. All we're doing is we're having a look at them and saying, what will they bring to the squad at Newcastle United? But the misleading the fans has to stop because I felt really sorry for Maxi yesterday because he took a lot of stick on social media, calling him every name under the sun because apparently, he's better than the club or he's better than this, he's better than that, when clearly all he was bloody ill. So it gets at players. Why? It's just ridiculous. I mean, Alex, obviously, I know you're a big fan of St. Maximin, and, all that on social media yesterday, calling him out for things that he hadn't even done.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the same opinion I've always had. This has just happened with Isak. Isak is back, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks later than we would have hoped, because he had a little bit of a setback. He was back exactly when Eddie Howe said, Eddie Howe kept us updated the whole way through his recovery process. And he was back when expected after his setback and played.
And Julie makes a good point there, Alex. Julie makes a good point there. Eddie wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Why would he say he wouldn't stand in front of a camera and lie to the fans?
It's just boring now because there's been no precedent set for any of this sort of conspiracy nonsense. None of it has ever been true, really. I don't think anything's ever been true in terms of there's always been bust-ups, fallouts, he's going, that's going, contract this, contract that. It's all been wrong.
Yeah.
And it is it is ridiculous. At this point, obviously there's something called journalistic integrity. Mm-hmm. We're not journalists, and nor are the other YouTubers. We're just people who are just on a platform. We don't have a history of we haven't studied to do this. We're just fans who voice an opinion, but we still have a bit of responsibility and expectation not to mislead people. Because I'm constantly checking my phone and I've got a million different things going on and people telling me things so I can keep updated with the club so that I can give you guys the best content. And these two have also got the same. So we try. Obviously, people have got busy lives and they can't do that. So, and I like to be able to do that and help people, learn things about the club that they might not have had the time to notice. But we need a bit of integrity, and we try to do that. And if going forward, we'll try and maintain that. But people have just got to calm down a little bit with these conspiracies. It's getting, considering how amazing our season is so far, they're just not warranted at all. And secondly, we are allowed to say bad things. We are allowed to point out the obvious. This is exactly what the club will do. If players have a poor performance or if players have played consistently poor, the club will say the same. Why can't we say the same as fans? It doesn't mean that we're not really happy with how everything's going so far, but we're critical of a few players. Both can be true at once, and people need to remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Billy, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was disappointed when the actual original news was broken by a channel. I was even more disappointed when, even after the explanation from Eddie Howe that ASM was ill, that it was doubled down on. It was doubled down last night. Mm-hmm. And it's playing with fans' minds. Same as the transfer rumours. People get mental health issues if they keep checking their phones on and off each day. Keep doing that, looking for signings that was been promised by certain avenues. It does play havoc with your mental health if this doesn't happen. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Mm. It's all for likes and clicks. And
I mean, we've seen it so many times before. People actually coming on and saying, people know by now that a lot of fans, certainly of this football club, they live and breathe Newcastle United, black and white through and through. And, they hear, things that are going to cheer them up, like, oh, such and such is going to sign, or this has happened. And it really does give them the, mental health-wise, a real boost. And you can say what you want. It's true. But I just don't agree with it. It's getting out of hand, man. Just for views, likes, clicks, just pack it in, man. It's just sad. I don't know what happened at the start. I mean, I'm seeing people say that we were on screen for about a minute sitting in silence. I don't really know why that was, because certainly the countdown started on here and the intro started. So I think StreamYard might have played up a little bit there, but do apologise. George says, who's the new lad at the bottom? Aaron says, see, we're supposed to have put a bid in for Mendy. Here we go again. Where have you? This has come from one place. Has anybody seen any journalist report this? Because I certainly haven't. I don't know where the stories come from. It's Dan says, I will say this, if Eddie started his A team and then we lost on Tuesday, people would say that he shouldn't have played them. It's not necessarily an easy choice to make. We're going to come on to the game, of course. Last night was a lesson, not failure, says Andrew. Onwards and upwards, the future is all black and white. The future is all organismic. Dear. Billy's beard's gone off in search of Wood's lost ball. Look, I'm going to start off with Chris Wood because we have to, guys. It's as simple as that. We have to. Look, he is one of the worst strikers I have seen at Newcastle United in my time of supporting them. And by God, we've had some crackers. We really have. But this consistency to miss from 6 yards is ridiculous. I mean, that guy last night was just, he's terrible. He's terrible. And I am struggling to find anybody now who is actually sticking up for him. A lot of people I've seen on social media, etc., today have turned around and said, he is, I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but enough's enough. He is genuinely garbage. And, he could have equalised last night. All he needed to do was slot it in the corner of the net, and yet somehow he balloons it over again. The third time in as many 3 or 4 games that he's done this. I mean, Alex, you must have thought that was 2-2 last night, surely.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few people floating around trying to misuse stats or accidentally misusing stats, talking about the XG of the chance. I think Sean Casey retweeted about that it was like a 0.08 XG shot, which not in his fault. I think he just used a source that was quite harshly rating the XG, and a few people came in to say, well, other sources say it's like a 0.33 XG shot. So XG being expected goals for new people. And yeah, it's not one that you're going to score all the time, but it's one that should, in my opinion, be going on target. I think I don't think we have a value for expected on target. I need to go and have a look and see whether that exists on the individual shots. But if he'd have placed it top corner and the keeper saves it with a worldie, we can forgive him for that because at least he's put it on target. It's I mean, I've been thinking long and hard about Wood and what the positives are. And seriously, we had in the some of the friendlies, he was doing some deep ball progression that was quite impressive.
Yeah,
but we don't really want him to do that. And, well, if Eddie Howe wants to, that's what he wants to do. But apart from the Chelsea game, he had a good game, and he's a very good penalty taker.
Yeah.
But
that's all he is, Alex. That's all he is.
And I know a lot of people have come out recently and said, look, he's our third choice striker. Fair enough. He's not meant to be of the quality of Wilson or Isak. Absolutely fair enough. But in my opinion, he's not playing even at the quality necessary for a third choice striker at all. It's so far below the expectation. We don't want him to be a world beater, but he needs to score 5 goals a season that aren't penalties. He needs to put something away occasionally.
I mean, that missed yesterday. But Alex, you were sitting next to me against Bournemouth when he missed that opportunity in the Carabao. You know, it was exactly the same. And there was another one. There was another one after that. Was it Leicester? Leeds. That he ballooned over from the same position. Why isn't he just taking a touch and stroking it in the bottom corner? I don't understand why he has to hit it first time.
You know, we always say, "Oh, it'll go in eventually," and it just hasn't. It just hasn't, and it's getting to the point now where, as a manager of the football club, he's not going to go this January. I know I've tweeted about I want him to, and that's my opinion. I want him to. I'm bored now. I'd rather bring in for less money an 18-year-old and give them minutes. I'm just done. I'm so bored of it. I'd rather be developing somebody else and give someone a chance. But that's my opinion. I'm not a football manager, so it's just horrible.
I mean, Billy, obviously you came on and at the end of the game just went through a few points, and you know, it was a massive opportunity to get the 2-2 when we really, you know, we had some chances yesterday. There's no doubt about that. But when you look at, I mean, I've watched it back. And I kind of think Joe Linton was actually hesitant to roll him in there. If you look at Joe Linton's body language, he looks up and he sees it's Chris Wood. And I think he's reluctant to play him in because he thinks, damn, I wish I could get a shot away here because I don't want to play it in. And of course he does. And Joe Linton didn't even, you know, when Chris Wood put that ball over the bar, Joe Linton didn't even go to him and like pat him on the head. You know, come on, get your head. He just turned away because he knew.
Because every time he gets a chance with his feet, he leans back. He just does it every time. He did it against Leeds, he did it against Bournemouth. And people are also saying, we wish he'd have played the first half because he'd have put away the Isak header. Do you remember Man City last year when he had exactly the same...
He wouldn't have been there to head the ball.
Well,
he's never there.
At the Etihad last season, exactly the same chance.
Well, of course he did, but he's normally never there on the end of crosses anyway. He did it once against Tranmere. And now suddenly, you know... I mean, just take a touch and slot it home. Don't give the keeper a chance with it. Look, I'm not saying he was the only one that missed some good chances because Isak did in the first half, you know, but, you know, you can say to Isak, well, you know, he hasn't played for God knows how long. He's thrown straight in, but yes, he should have scored. Jacob Murphy, don't get me freaking started. I mean, that one that we spoke about at halftime yesterday, Billy, when Jacob Murphy was one-on-one against a defender, and for some reason, he backs off and doesn't try and take him on. What the hell is that about?
Complete lack of confidence in his own ability, basically. In which case, he should be playing for Newcastle United. I don't think.
I mean, he was awful. He was awful yesterday, Murphy, Alex, wasn't he? I mean, he was genuinely awful.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with Murphy as a player because I really like him as a player. I think he's got the speed, and he is always that player that gets in behind, that's in the right place, finds the run, receives the pass. He's always that guy, and there's clearly a reason for that. He's talented enough to be in the right place, which just is just so frustrating because if he had that little bit of technical quality as well, he'd be a brilliant player, and he's just missing that piece.
You're saying he's got the speed, Alex. You're saying he's got the speed. When he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, he stops. He's got
that's again confidence and technical ability, or confidence in his technical ability, which is limited. You know, it's a reverse of what Miggy had. Miggy was missing the brain. He kept, before he was reformed, he was just very, I don't know where to pass. I don't know how to overlap. I don't know where to go with it. So we fixed Miggy's decision making, and now he's very confident in what he's doing with the ball. And even if he misses, I'm happy that he's made a decision. He's decisive. If he misses, fine. He's whereas Murphy, he's just missing that final piece to be a good player. Well, I say good, but that's unfair. Let's not forget, he's probably around a lower Premier League to a high Championship level player, which is the top end of the country, the top end of professional football. It's still a massive feat, but it's not where we are at the moment. And it's a shame because he's a fan, but it was Sheffield Wednesday. You've got to be doing better than that.
Yeah. Sean Stevenson, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. No comment there, but thank you very much for that. Devon says, hello, guys. It's time the likes of Jamal Lascelles, Jamal Lewis, Chris Wood, all of these dead Wood players need to be gone quickly. Wood yesterday should be at least hitting the target. It was an awful miss. I mean, look, Lascelles again. He just, I mean, we've spoken about Jamal Lascelles on numerous occasions. It just, nothing changes. He's been
surviving off a one reasonably good Liverpool showing, and that's it. That's the only thing keeping his name above water this year, really.
Yeah. Shieldsy says, I haven't been impressed on what I've seen of Elliot Anderson. I thought he came a bit more into the game as time went on yesterday. He was awful first 10 minutes. He was really awful. But so were a lot of them. Jan says, Isak needs a few more games and he will be the top man up front. I mean, look, Billy, Isak yesterday, he hasn't kicked a ball for months in anger in a competitive football game. And he came on yesterday and he looked really good, I have to say. You know, he got some chances. Yes, he didn't score, but he got some chances. And then, you know, that little bit on the left-hand side where he nutmegged the Sheffield Wednesday fullback, then he went back and took him on again, and he got fouled. This is what this guy's capable of. And he could have had a goal. You know, Manquillo should have done better when he went round at the keeper, slightly on the stretch to cross it. But it's good to have him back, isn't it?
Yeah, and I felt a bit sorry for him, actually, because he was doing things that were way too technical for the players he was playing with. You know, he was laying balls into spaces.
Exactly the same thing.
He was putting balls into spaces where he expected a half-decent player would be.
Yeah,
and the others are standing around going, you know, just not there. Not on the same wavelength whatsoever. On a completely lower wavelength, if you like. The headed chance he should have scored. I don't put that down to rustiness. He should have scored it. Apart from that, I thought he had an outstanding, well, not an outstanding, but a very good 45 minutes, considering he hasn't played for 4 months.
And it was funny because Longstaff slipped him in, didn't he? They're exactly the same as what happened at Liverpool, exactly the same move. And he kept it down this time, tried to drill it into the corner, but the keeper obviously got a leg to, who, by the way, the Sheffield Wednesday keeper yesterday, what a match he had. What a game. That save from Murphy in the second half was absolutely superb. If you look at that again, that ball was moving so much in the air. And at one stage, the goalkeeper was going the wrong way. He was mid-air and he changed his angle to save it. It was a superb save. And listen, I'm not here to sort of say that Sheffield Wednesday didn't deserve to win yesterday, because they did. Like Billy said after the match, they wanted it so much more than us yesterday. And it was just typical of a lower league team going at a Premier League team and roughing them up and giving them a game. And Sheffield Wednesday took the second goal, farcical, in my opinion, just like the first one. Terrible defending. But, you know, he took it really well. The free kick, they hit the bar. That was a wonderful save by Dubravka. But what did you think of the starting lineup, Alex? Because I know, obviously, I said in the preview that I thought Dubravka and Isak would start. They did. What did you make of that?
I thought it was Eddie for the first time giving them an opportunity, giving some of the fringe players an opportunity. He was hamstrung a little bit. I mean, I want to point everybody to the injury list, because I've not seen this discussed yet on it anywhere. So if we play our injured players, if we had available Matt Targett, John Joe Shelby, Maxi, and Emil Kraft, I think that makes that lineup strong enough to win that game. So I think you've got to factor in that they're all injured as well. But I honestly, what were we talking about the first half? I've gone down on tangent. I'm frustrated, as everybody is. Well, what did you want me to answer?
What you thought of Dubravka and Isak being in from the start?
The original lineup, yeah.
Yeah.
Dubravka's a funny one. I think he was poor. I think he was very poor. I think he's unconfident. I think an element of that was Jamal Lewis and Lascelles being really, really poor. But Dubravka does not. He looks like a completely different goalkeeper to Pope. I like Dubravka. He's a reasonably good shot stopper, but he doesn't look confident at all. He doesn't suit our system. I could see a couple of times having to remind himself, oh God, yeah, I need to roll it out and get this going quickly. And it was just so forced.
Yeah, he's not used to that with previous managers, is he?
Yeah, I just think it was an audition gone wrong. Anderson, I don't like Anderson in midfield. I think Eddie's just had to play what he could play. But I think Anderson was poor in midfield because he's not a midfielder. I think he looked much better when he got out on the wing a few times. But in the midfield, he's not. I don't think he's got the brain and the defensive responsibility. They were making some awful sort of little passing sequences. Nobody was giving each other man-on shouts. There was nobody leading. There was nobody dragging the game. But, you've got your captain nobody was calling man-ons. And people were losing the ball. It was getting robbed. I think Manquillo was okay.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed with Manquillo's performance. I think he did all right.
Yeah, in the same breath that we talk about Chris Wood being a third choice striker, Manquillo theoretically is our third choice right back, and I think for a third choice right back, he's fine. For a third choice, he's absolutely fine. If our third choice plays at that level, okay, I'm fine with that. Who else was there that was new? I think Richie. I really like some of his technical ability, actually.
I mean, Billy, we said this, when you came on to sort of review the game at the end there, we were happy with Richie's performance. I think Richie did what he could.
I wasn't happy with it. I
don't know, Alex. I think considering he hasn't played,
that's fair. But I think for him to be useful to us, he needs legs, and he hasn't got legs.
Well, yes.
But yeah, I think it's a real shame that he's not 3 years younger when this project came round, because I think he could have been really useful. It's another John Joe Shelby. If both were 3 years younger, they'd have really enjoyed this. And you can see he's still really good technically. He's got really good technical ability. And I think he'll suit a different club at the right level. I think he will be exceptional for another team. And I'm happy that he put the shirt on again and tried, because we had some injuries.
Yeah. He was certainly one of the better players out there. Noxie says, Stato, what rum are you getting, Paul? Had a feeling Isak might have started, but was surprised about Dubravka. Now, you did state this on the show, Alex. When I said Dubravka, yes. So I'll expect me Captain Morgan when I see you there during the week.
Although, yeah, Eddie Howe kind of made sense of why. I expected Isak to maybe get the last half an hour.
Yeah.
And Eddie Howe explained why, and it makes a lot more sense. This is why I'm not a manager. Eddie Howe said, I would rather him have the first half, so he's got the benefit of a full warm-up.
Yeah.
And I never thought of that. That's genius. Makes a lot more sense. It's why he's a coach. So, yeah. It makes a lot more sense.
Crow's Tail, thank you very much for your £4.49 super chat. He says, I'll be tuning in on Tuesday night with Sky Sports on mute. Yeah, live commentary from Billy of the match on Tuesday night. No spoilers, people. Hopefully we are tough mentally, especially if Leicester just defend. It'll be interesting to see how we come out for that game. Mark says, Wood should never, ever wear a Toon top again. Good evening, Matt. John Noble says, unfortunately, some people love to cause problems by making up BS. No sympathy for Villa. Find it hilarious. Absolutely. Beat says, we can concentrate on the league after Tuesday's game, of course, against Leicester. Good chance to reach a semi-final. Diane says, I'm gutted, absolutely gutted. Definitely need like-for-like players on the bench. Kieran says, this window, we should actually sign better wingers and fielders. Half of the players have been there for 5 to 9 years, and it's useless to keep them. Paul Dummett, another waste of space. Willock, Wood. Paul says, Eddie always feels honest in his interviews. I think that's why he's so liked, similar to March. White of Dorking, no bullshit and no dodging questions. Peter, good evening, matey. Murphy and Wood should stay at home on Tuesday. Doesn't matter how young you are, if you're doing intense training and sport, then you will get fatigued and the immune system will suffer. Facts. Yeah, everybody gets ill, guys. Everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're super fit, you still get ill. Paul says, as fans, we need to be prepared to not win games under Eddie Howe and not lose our heads. We are united. Yeah, yes. But see, people do lose their heads and start saying, is this the bubble bursting and this kind of thing. All it is, right? All it is we've lost a game of football and we can criticize because we've lost a game of football, but that's all it is. We criticize players that didn't turn up. But, we move on to Tuesday and we think, right, we've got a chance of making a semi-final here. So it's very important, Billy, that we then sort of get this out of our systems tonight kind of thing, and then we move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the end of it. This is the line run under. Tuesday night's a more important game anyway, and Eddie's obviously rested players for that game by picking the side he did. So I want to make an issue about Dubravka, like yesterday.
He should have
been selected in the first place because it sends out the wrong message to me. It sends out the wrong message to Carl Darlow. Sends out Martin Dubravka, the first hint of any competition was off like a shot. Things didn't go his way, so he's come back with his tail between his legs. To me, he shouldn't have been playing yesterday. And if he hadn't have played, and say Nick Pope had played, I think we win the game. I think Pope organised his defence better. He'd have dealt with the first goal, and he'd have been out like a shot to make sure the second one didn't go in also. So, yeah, I think he's cost us there, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, I mean, obviously, it's caused debate, hasn't it? Dubravka coming into the side, and Carl Darlow left out yesterday. I don't know how I feel about Dubravka starting. I feel he did what he could. I thought he commanded his area okay on crosses and things like that. But the goals, I mean, he was a long way to the right for that second goal, wasn't he? When it was curled round him, he was a long way to his right. Not sure why he was that far, but I don't know. These things happen, I guess. Stiff says, as frustrating as yesterday was, we have to put in perspective. We've lost 2 games in 8 months. That is absolutely ridiculous. I try to keep that in mind. Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, look, Alex, Jamal Lascelles, he doesn't give you any confidence, does he? I mean, there was once I think it was the first half, that he had a 10-yard start on the Sheffield Wednesday player, and it was Lascelles that had to make the sliding tackle, or else the guy was clean through.
Yeah, people keep telling me Botman's slow. Bloody hell! It's yeah. Look, I like the guy. He's done a lot for us. The Liverpool game was okay, but when he's been needed, he's not at the level technically required, and he doesn't seem fast enough. I don't know. I think that's unfair because Botman and Schär aren't particularly fast either. It's just not. It's not quite good enough. And he's got a slightly longer contract, I believe, and he is the club captain. But I think now this is the only silver lining for this, really, apart from having stronger first team players, somewhat fresh, although they had to come on and play half an hour to try and rescue it. The silver lining is that any moves we want to make in January now for getting players out or for not renegotiating contracts, we've now got the power. Eddie's now got the power because they've been given a couple of attempts. A few of these fringe players have been given Tranmere and Sheffield Wednesday, and a few of them have been woeful. And I think now the whole concept of this whole how we operate as a club is about the atmosphere and the mentality and how together everybody is. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a really nice free hit for us now, because I think he can get rid of a few without it negatively affecting the mentality, because I think it's fair and justified. Nobody can turn around and say, hey, what you getting rid of Lewis for? That's a bit unfair. Well, it's not. Lewis has had quite a few chances now. He's not a youth player anymore. Mm-hmm. I think we can get rid of a few fairly now without upsetting.
Alex, that's what people forget, though, mate, isn't it? They forget that these players aren't kids anymore. They forget how old they are. And
they're not young anymore.
Yeah. Kieran, I think you need to chill out on the signings, mate. He says, is anyone else confused why Eddie Howe hasn't made a single transfer? He needs to see him badly. Willock and Longstaff are shit. For the past 3 games, Longstaff runs around like a clown and doesn't mark. Look, I'll take you to task on Longstaff, Kieran. I think Longstaff's been really good, in my opinion. I don't know about the guys, but in my opinion, I've given Longstaff a lot of hammer. If you look back at old shows, especially last season, I've given Longstaff a lot of stick. But my God, he has put the effort in. And I thought Longstaff put himself about yesterday again. Yeah, again, the finishing hasn't been great from Sean. That needs to improve, as it does throughout the side. He's not the only one. But Sean Longstaff was back defending again last night. He was up front with, putting Isak through balls in for him. He was around, and he was making some great
cleaned
tackles.
Up the Lewis mess a few times as well.
Exactly. He was the last man back a few times. So I'm going to stick up for Sean here, because I think Sean has improved. Willock, for me, didn't do anything when he came on yesterday. Looked like he wasn't interested yesterday, Joe Willock, which was a surprise to me. I'm not sure whether he might have been feeling under the weather for all we know. I don't know. But he didn't look his best. But as for signings, it's very early days. We're only 8 days into the transfer window. There's not a lot of signings took place yet because things have to be, there's a process to signings, and just be patient. Eddie will know who he needs. The club know who we need. Certainly last night would have been a wake-up call again to say, look, we do need strength and depth. We haven't got that at the minute, so we need that. But I'm sure that will come in time. But don't panic on transfers just yet. If we're getting to the 8th of February, the window is gone and we haven't got anybody in, I'll be very, very surprised, mate. I'll be very surprised. Jan says we must have our best 11 out for the next game and try to win it in the first half. And I say it's including Isak. Yeah, I think Isak will play a part on Tuesday, Jan. I don't think he'll start. I think Callum Wilson will start on Tuesday. But I do think he'll play a full-strength team. He has to. We don't play again till Sunday, so there's a few days rest anyway. So why not? We've got a semi-final at stake here. And I think he will play a full-strength side. Jay Devlin, thank you for your 199 super chat. Very kind, my friend. Thank you so much. Julie J says, learned from last season, if a transfer happens, it will be announced through the correct channels. Crow's Tail says, before the World Cup, NUFC just played Saturday, then Saturday. After World Cup, it's Saturday, then midweek, then Saturday. And last 3 games have proved we need better quality. Keith says, hopefully after the shit show of yesterday, the powers that be will say we need strengthening off the bench. It's woeful and Wood needs to be gone. Then again, won't be surprised if he plays him again. Is he a bit blinkered, Billy? Do you think? Look, Eddie Howe, for all we love Eddie, and, he is a wonderful manager and has done so much for this football club already. And I hope he's here for years and wins loads of trophies. But do you think this Chris Wood thing is just, has he realised? Do you think he realised last night, maybe, if Wilson or Isak's not available, you've got young Dylan Stevenson. Surely he offers a little bit more than Chris Wood.
Perhaps he doesn't want to put Dylan Stevenson in that kind of atmosphere at his youthful age. Chris Wood, remember, cost £25 million. He's on 100 grand a week. He should be able to deal with them situations. And he's got little choice apart from putting the youth kid in with the injuries. So he's hamstrung into doing it. He's got no other choice, really.
Has he? Could he not maybe just put... Listen, I'd have been really happy for Joe Linton to play a striker yesterday. I know, in the second half, I would have put Joe up front instead of Chris Wood, right? I would have done that because I've got no faith in Chris Wood. But I see what you're talking about there with Eddie being a little bit hamstrung.
Yeah,
but
it's injury management as well, you've got to remember.
It is, yeah.
Because we were so critical of Bruce mismanaging injuries and people coming back too soon or playing too many minutes. And we're actually getting a lot more out of Wilson this season. We were really worried about him this year. And I think he's played a lot more minutes than most people expected. And we've just got to make sure the minutes are managed. So he is hamstrung to a point. If he wants to make sure our 2 best strikers stay fit-ish or fit enough, he's got to use Wood when is appropriate. Even if he doesn't want to, he's kind of got
to. Yeah. Devon says another stat, guys, we haven't lost when Fabian Scher's in the team. Exactly. We go on about Sven Botman and his record, but we've never lost with Scher in the team this season, which proves what a massive miss he is, by the way.
Who played Liverpool?
I think it was Botman and Lascelles, wasn't it?
No, Lascelles and Byrne, wasn't it?
Botman hasn't lost.
Lascelles and Byrne, wasn't it?
Was it Lascelles?
All right, well, yeah, Fabian Scher didn't play against Liverpool. So there you go. Geordie Boy says, I fell for it. Some fans were actually saying he was doing the Toon last night. He wasn't. Don't worry, Geordie Boy. Just make sure you don't fall for the bull, that's all. I mean, Maxi wasn't out in Newcastle last night. It's just... crazy. Mark Robson says everyone hates the Toon. Get used to it. Yep, absolutely. Are we agreed that Eddie Howe put out the wrong team and expected more of them? That formation against an improving Sheffield Wednesday. I think, look, I don't think in his head, he didn't put out the wrong team. He said last night that he put a team out that he thought would be good enough to beat Sheffield Wednesday. And quite frankly, when you look at it, whatever you say about Sheffield Wednesday, they're a League One side. So most of the reserves should be able to beat a League One football team, but it doesn't work that way. I think he definitely expected more of them, and I think a lot of those players, Billy, last night let Eddie Howe down.
Well, we've gone through the season having to play 2 or 3 of these reserves. We've been thinking we do have more depth than what we've got. The problem is when you put 7 or 8 of them in the side at the same time, that's when the problem comes. We had it against Tranmere, we had it last night. In fact, the cup games this year, let's be honest, the Bournemouth game, the Palace game, we weren't great in them either. So when he does have to play more than the 1 or 2, the Murphys of this world as isolated substitutes, or the Fraser of this world as isolated substitutes, that when we're putting a lot of them in at once, that's when the problem starts.
Yeah. Gallagher Brown, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. He says, I love Eddie, but I think the blinkers were on with Dubravka and Wood. Also, I agree with Shearer. I hope we can get Isak and Wilson up top with Maxi and Miggy. Interesting. Chi Kyung Foon, thank you very much for your 5. What's SGD, guys? Singapore dollars? I think it is, isn't it? If ASM was to be back on the wing on Tuesday to move Joe Linton back in midfield, who would you drop, Willock or Longstaff? Willock for me. I think Longstaff deserves to play if he's fit.
I think he would just drop Willock anyway because of the balance of Longstaff and Willock. They never used to, but now they do very different things.
But Alex, as well, you've got to think of the Longstaff's partnership that he's got going with Miggy and Trippier, so to speak, in that little triangle that sometimes. Yes, it hasn't come off in the last few games. You know, when they try the little chip over and Longstaff's making the runs, but it's going to come off eventually. They keep working at it.
Yeah, he's definitely working on trying to improve his link-up play, his passing sequences, and his technical abilities. There's clearly a lot. He's trying very hard, and I just think, the situation you've just suggested would imply Longstaff stays because Willock is far more tasked with, and Joe Linton are both get the ball, break up play, drive it forward, and be part of that final bit. Whereas Longstaff's got a very different game. So it's more about energy and recycling and being careful. And then he will try that occasionally crazy run to the byline, and the through ball is never quite to him, unfortunately. But yeah, Longstaff. If in the situation you just said, it would be Longstaff, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. The only player who's been up is Freshneda on Sky. That's it. Yeah, he's been the one mainly in the news. But again, there's nothing on that. Tom says he's got Mendy playing for him on Football Manager. Quality signing. Yeah, but the wages are quality and all. We'll see. Beat says, Paul, are you going to give Wood a good grade for effort? Well, you'll have to wait and see at the end of the show when we do the player ratings, matey. Spacebar says, I can't defend Wood anymore. Aaron says, here we've approached Mbappe because I'm about to tweet it out. I Like Coffee says, I thought Paul, Billy and Alex were having a moment's silence over our performance last night at the beginning of the stream. It was StreamYard. I can only apologize for that. Everything was playing on my screen. Everything was up and running. But I don't know what StreamYard were playing at tonight. I really don't. Jonathan says, just to back you up, Paul, I'm lucky enough to know one of the first team players' fathers. And he said Maxi is ill, has been under the weather since Thursday. Look, he was ill. Eddie confirmed that. Why would Eddie lie to us? He wouldn't. Simple as that. I've got 100% trust in Eddie Howe. And there's no way he'd stand in front of a television camera to millions of people audience and lie. He's just not that kind of guy. David says, Wood or Hosselu? Hosselu any day of the week. No doubt about that. And you look at Hosselu's record now since he left Newcastle.
He's been banging them in.
I think I'd even take Riviera over fucking Wood, if I'm honest.
Well, I think Riviera would have finished that chance last night. I'm under no illusion. But, you know, it is what it is. Ross says Richie was the only fringe player who tried his best. Need to get shot of the rest of the Ashley era and get spending. Our fringe bench is poor. Murphy offers nothing. Stephen says, great start to the show. 3 top chaps speaking from their hearts. Thanks, lads. You're very welcome, Stephen. Thank you. Troll says, Wood is as useful as a hen in a fox house. Yes. Geordie Howie says Villa losing has helped take the spotlight off us. Look, I don't think yesterday's result, us losing to Sheffield Wednesday, is one of those incredible giant killing defeats. It's not going to go down in history.
Back in the Championship,
of course they are.
Whereas Stevenage are a concrete League Two side. So
yeah, there's a big difference.
And
Villa were at home. You know, they were at Villa Park. I mean, there you go. That's all you need to say, really. Rat says Wood beats Riviere and De Jong, and they were shit.
I think so.
I think De Jong and Riviere were better than Chris Wood. I'm sorry.
Was very good after leaving us, to be fair.
Yeah. Me and my daughter went to the Newcastle Stadium tour on Friday. Really enjoyed it. It's a brilliant tour. It really is. Keng says we need to sign 4 players urgently: a winger, midfielder, right back, left back, and another 4 in the summer. And our reserve team should move on one by one. Chris Wood, Murphy should be moved. Stephen says you got to knock on wood. Christ, I would have knocked on his head last night. Jesus. Unbelievable. Lewis says, I would rather have Riviere than Wood. He's awful. Sean says, they even said, see, we told you so after Eddie Howe told the TV he was ill, and you heard it first on this. I'm stopping watching that channel. We're not naming channels. We're not naming any channel. We haven't named any channel, and I won't post that channel or anybody's channel on here for that matter. But look, if we're not stopping you watching other channels, just say, why would you believe something when it's not the club telling you, or the manager? It's ridiculous. You need to believe what you hear from the club and only the club. Yes, you can talk about players and how exciting it is to be linked with them and see what they could bring to the club, but don't say people are signing or making rumours up that there's a bust up when then Maxi last night took a lot of shit on social media. I don't know whether you guys noticed it, but he was getting, he's too big. His ego's too big for the club. He's nothing's bigger than Newcastle United. If I was Maxi, I'd be thinking, well, hang on a minute. I'm poorly here, and why am I getting all this shit? It's ridiculous.
Well, someone noticed that he hadn't got on the bus, and they said the channel that we're not going to say who it was said that, but then exacerbated it by making up excuses why he hadn't got on the bus. And the one he said was he had a massive fallout with Eddie Howe. Yeah, big argument.
Which clearly is not the case.
Ultimatum sent one way from Maxi to Howe, and absolute bollocks.
And the way social media works these days is that the players are on there, the players see it, and Maxi would have been heartbroken last night to see all that crap written about him.
Well, I know why he put stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean it's. I felt really sorry for him yesterday, and he took a lot of flack from so-called fans, calling him out for being his ego's too big for Newcastle United and everything. When all it was the same as Callum Wilson a couple of weeks ago. He was ill. We know there's a virus gone around Newcastle United. That's been reported from the club. So, God, honestly, it pisses me off, man. Alan, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. Welcome to Members Club. Thank you, and welcome to the family, my friend. Paul says, remember those 90s premium rate telephone services? Well, Billy probably does. Oh, sorry, they provided transfer rumours. I got a rollicking for spending so much on the phone. Yeah, do you remember Club Call, Billy?
My mate, the Villa fan, he saw on on teletext Villa about to sign World Cup star and spent £30 to find out the World Cup star was Colin Calderwood.
Wow. I mean, it was expensive, wasn't it? It was like £1 a minute or something, wasn't it?
Ridiculous. It was, and they skirted around everything until they got to what you wanted to listen to.
Yeah, they had loads of ads on at the start. Not that I rang it very much. It was, but you know, Mr. Scouts about is seen a lot of posts saying how people judge Big Joe for being a failed striker, but even he would have put that away. Yes, he would have. And like we've already discussed, I think he was very hesitant to roll that ball into Chris Wood. I don't care what anybody says. He slowed right down. He looked up. He saw Chris Wood. And it took an age for Joe to deliver him the ball.
I think it was the opposite. I think he was more tempted to take it on himself. And thought,
because he was Chris Wood in front of him, Alex.
Well, I just think when you're in those positions, especially with a manager like Eddie Howe, I think if he'd have taken that on himself and not scored, I think he gets a rollicking himself. So because Chris Wood is in a good position, that is always the ball. 100 times out of 100, you've got to play that ball. And Joe Linton knew that if he took it on and didn't score, he was in big trouble. He has to play that pass. Yeah. Even though he did look. I know exactly the moment you're on about where he kind of has a little pause. he was definitely tempted to have a go, but he
I
squared
wish
it.
he'd got himself. He probably would have scored, to be honest, because the defender then, you're talking that it was 2-on-1. The defenders then got to decide, does he go to Chris Wood? Does he stay on Joe Linton? Stiff says, Big Joe was excellent yesterday. He really did not deserve to lose. We let him down. He was, Billy, wasn't he? He was absolutely fantastic, Joe Linton, yesterday.
He was a class above anything on the pitch, to be honest. Dominated the game, did everything right, physical, kept hold of the ball, passes, the lot. Just sallied a little bit by the second goal, but he had a superb game.
Yeah.
First goal, sorry.
Gary says the countdown came on, but the intro didn't. Well, the intro came on for me. Did it come on for you?
Yeah, it did.
Alex just doesn't care.
I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the
interesting that. But trust me, it was StreamYard, guys. It definitely played. So we do apologise for that. Sitting there silent for a minute, looking at our ugly mugs. I tell you. Paul says, picture Shearer on that Wood chance. He'd get over the ball and drill it. Wood isn't messy, so why is he trying to lean back and curl it top corner? Lesson 1, make the keeper work, and he didn't even do that. Absolutely. Darren says, I think with Wood is that he's an average striker, and if he got that chance playing for Burnley, it would have been a goal. I just don't think he can handle the pressure of being a centre forward at the Toon. That's a good point. Maybe it is just pressure.
I mean, his reaction to it was the worst reaction I've seen yet. When he's missed, it's been like, oh, never mind. All right, we go again. Whereas he missed that, and he looked, head in hands. He knew that wasn't good enough at all. He knew he was going to get ripped for it, and rightly so.
I was surprised he found his hands with his head, to be honest.
Good point. No, good point. Fair. I mean, Keith says he saw a post yesterday saying if Wood had shot 2-pack, he'd be 53 now. Yes, I saw that earlier on. I had to chuckle when I saw that as well. Jenny says he's worse than George Riley. Wow, George Riley. He was absolute. I mean, you talk George Riley, Tony Cunningham. You could name a few.
I think the benchmark's Rob McDonald. He's the worst I've seen.
Well, absolutely, yeah, Rob McDonald.
I think Wood's pretty close to him.
I think for me, this is just my personal preference, and obviously no player has an expectation to do this. But do you remember when Shelvey had a like 5 or 6 really good games, and then he had a poor game against Brighton, and we beat Brighton anyway, and he came out the next day and apologized and said, I wasn't very good yesterday. Sorry guys, we've been doing really well. Let's crack on.
Yeah.
There is no expectation for players to do that. They owe us, I say they owe us nothing. I mean, they owe us a little bit. I just feel like Wood, it's just been so silent, and I feel so sorry for Eddie Howe because he's the manager, and Eddie Howe's just got he's not going to do Mourinho. He's not going to throw his lads under the bus because of the whole dynamic of trying to have this super good mentality. And Eddie Howe's just got to keep sucking it up and just going, I trust him. Yeah.
Yeah.
God knows what he's thinking in his own head. Surely. And Wood just keeps just tarnishing the faith that is being put in him by the manager and the coaching staff. I mean, they've got to have had conversations about youth players. There's got to have been a conversation about could we, should we, can we, is it the right thing to do? Because it's beyond not good enough anymore.
Yeah. Mark Tulip says, did anyone see Lascelles run the wrong way and they were clean through? He tried to step up for offside. I don't know whether you saw that moment, Alex. Me and Billy had a chat about it last night. He steps up for offside and there was no way it was ever going to be offside.
This is my original Stato whinging point from a year ago that Lascelles doesn't know the offside rule. Everybody who's been here since the start of maybe last January will remember all I do is constantly whinge about Lascelles' offside trap. Just doesn't exist. That was a prime showcasing of it. He doesn't understand the offside rule at all.
I think Lascelles. Well, I think 2 or 3 of the defenders. In fact, the whole team needs Kieran Trippier there week in, week out. Not just for the league.
I mean, can we just? Yeah, Billy, can we just talk about that ball that he played for that 2-on-1? That volleyed pass that set Joe Linton through.
Yeah, that's been cut off all the replay highlights.
I know. Nobody's mentioned it. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. The ball comes from a good height as well, and he plays it on the volley, side foot, It was a side foot volley. Beautifully played, Joel. And it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a clearance because you can see him looking where Joe Linton's running and he plays him in. It was a wonderful ball and everybody just hasn't mentioned that. It was world class. Annie says we'll take him. I think he's talking about Chris Wood. Annie, get him, please. Kieran, Eddie Howe needs to sign. Yes, we know, Kieran. You've mentioned that once or twice on this stream. Stephen says if would have shot the Sheriff, Bob Marley wouldn't have had his song. Pew Pew missed that. XG, Mr. G, what is that all about? He missed by a mile. Sorry, I don't see an XG. No one can defend his performances. David says regarding Wood, he missed that absolute sitter, but he had 45 minutes on the pitch to do something or make something happen, and he failed yet again. This time against League One standard, 100 grand a week ? Yeah.
So that from Chris Wood, that shot was 0.33 xg. So you should score that. Every third version of that shot goes in. He didn't even hit the target.
Yeah. Geordie Awayman says Jacob Murphy got confused because he thought he was still on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. God. Problem with Wood is his wage is too high for a team in the Championship. Yeah, but I mentioned this a few times on previous shows. What Newcastle United are going to have to make a decision on some of these players. If they are going to strengthen the squad this month, then they're going to have to make some decisions on the fringe players. They are going to have to turn and say, right, if they are to go on loan or to another team, then or a transfer or whatever, they will need to make sure that obviously say to the other teams that we are going to pay a percentage of the wages. That's the only way it's going to work because, you know, Chris Wood, etc., they aren't going to go to another club and take. I mean, Chris Wood's on 100 grand a week. He's not going to go to a Championship side for 20 grand a week, is he? You just wouldn't do that. Nobody would. So we've got to say to these clubs, enough's enough. We'll pay a percentage of the wages, Bill.
Yeah. How long's his contract? He's got 18 months to go or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to pay his wages off to just
signed a 2.5-year deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In January,
You're looking at got guts of 20 mil to pay him off.
It's crazy. Rob says he was in the town last night
and help pay the wages and hope he. No.
Yeah. Rob says, I was in Toon last night when folks saw Woods was missed. They all ducked in case the ball headed their way. Ross says, bring back Cisse, and he's about 50. He wouldn't have missed last night. He would have put that in. Chris Wood couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo, no matter how many swings he had. Wood doesn't need to shoot better, score more, contribute more. He just needs to leave. Big Dog says 100% need a young striker as third fiddle. Wood is pretending to be a professional footballer. Guys, news on Karangual. It looks like he's gone to Hearts for the rest of the season on loan. So massive good luck to Karangual. And we hope he tears up the Scottish Premier League. I'm really excited to see how he does for the remainder of the season because if he does tear it up, he'll probably be in our squad next year. So we'll see how he does.
Reason to watch Scottish football.
Absolutely, exactly. Geordie says, I jumped out my seat and got right in front of the TV when the ball got past the Wood, thinking it was 2-2, was gutted. Yeah, I think Chris Wood could go and play for the Falcons because he seems to have, every time he shoots, when it's not a penalty, it's rugby posts in front of him.
I mean, he won 0 duels, 0 ground duels, 0 aerial duels, and he was on for a full half. I think tiddlywinks, maybe.
Yeah. Darren says, yesterday's performance was shocking. It shows you how bad our fringe players are. Wood is just not good enough for Newcastle United. Also, what's going on with ASM? He's ill. Simple as that. Maybe a bell end in the ball would help. He's a very important squad player. Yawn.
Just the bell.
Stephen says, in a way, I'm glad we're out as we can concentrate on League Cup and Premier. I don't want to be out, though. I want to be in these competitions. That's what the whole takeover was about. It's about challenging for things again. Not the usual excuse saying, we can concentrate on the league. We want to be in everything. But that is for the future when we do build on what squad we do have. Darren says it was on Sky Sports earlier that we are interested again in Brereton Diaz, but are unwilling to pay £15 million for him. We paid 25 for Wood. Yeah, I mean, look, do a swap deal. Just do something. But, Burton Diaz, look, is he really going to come and play third fiddle? I'm not sure. Paul says Chris Wood is costing us games now. Lascelles seems to negatively impact the team. Big Joe was immense and 100% needs to be sent to midfield alongside Bruno. Absolutely. Yeah, it does seem like every time Lascelles is in the squad or in the team, there's panic in that back line, Alex. It's pure panic.
Yeah, I mean, Botman was having to be a lot more switched on to just, pass. There's funny passes, and Botman was having to try and save issues. It's bizarre. It's just a confidence thing. We couldn't seem to get it out to fullbacks at all. It was just so every outball to Manquillo or Lewis, I was panicking. After about 10 minutes, I was just panicking because we couldn't get it to a fullback without either losing the ball, playing a pass to one of them, throwing the ball to one of them, whatever way, we were just giving it to them. That was Botman was just getting bored and just trying to ping it 50 yards. He was like, sod this. I'm just going to try and put it somewhere else.
Because Lascelles just cannot bring the ball out. He is incapable of doing that.
But this is I've got to remind people that Botman is younger than that whole back line. Manquillo's 28. Lewis is now not a youth player. How old's Lewis? He's got to be 24, 25, maybe more. Botman's the youngest in that back line by some distance. And he was the guy going, oh, all right, then I'll have to step up and sort this out. Whether it was defensive positioning, clearing it, whether it was trying to build from the back and him playing balls forward. And the fact that he's partnering our club captain. Oh, that's...
I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm not sure it's just Lascelles. I think Botman's head was also having Dubravka behind him and not Pope sweeping up. If the ball goes past him, it's 3-on-3 on the keeper. Whereas if Pope's there, he's out clearing it, sweeping, keeping. I think a lot of that has to do with it too.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. And similarly, he's used to having a wonky left back system where Burns a lot deeper, and instead he's got Lewis losing the ball, constantly trying to get up to the halfway line. So yeah, Botman had a lot to try and deal with that wasn't his own doing.
I mean, some people came in the chat last night and said Botman doesn't look great, and I was trying to explain to them, like, he's having to do everything. He's having to be everywhere across that back line. He's having to cover for most of the bloody team. Alex,
you can handcuff.
2 seconds. Go on, Billy.
2 games we've lost. Who's the constant in the back four?
Lascelles.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I was just going to say, you can handcuff Novak Djokovic. He's not going to play tennis very well, is he? That's what we did to Botman yesterday.
Yeah, we did. Alex, go through that.
Yeah, just for people that haven't looked at it, even with the way the game went, 9 times out of 10 we win that game. Even with the poor players, we were well over 3 XG. I agree with Billy. I think Dubravka could have done more in both of their goals. I think our defenders could have done more. They were both errors, essentially. We gave them. I'm going to say something controversial now, and this is my opinion. I don't think Sheffield Wednesday deserved that game at all. Well done for winning it. They had to take their chances. Fair enough. They played okay. But I think both goals were gifted by our errors and our just lack of quality from our fringe players. I think we were the better team by far, with over 3 XG, 75% possession. It was just one of those days where some players who aren't good enough made too many mistakes, and we got punished for it. And even that being said, the goalkeeper could have saved it. 562 passes to their 130 accurate passes. So 5 times more passes. 17 fouls was quite a lot from them. I didn't realize it was quite that much. 11 corners. 11. And that being said, our goal was offside as well. So even though one of theirs was. So that kind of cancels it out. Yep. 22 shots with 4 big chances. Here's Chris Wood's shot. So it was from this little position here. 0.33 XG. Was a miss. Not good enough. This is Bruno's goal here, which very high XG value because he was literally standing in the goal
Well, he was offside. I mean, he was a mile offside.
He couldn't have been any closer, could he? And I think where's Isak's? That's Botman's chance. Where's Isak's little shot? Is this it? If I can click it, no, it's Anderson. There you go. I think that's Isak's header. So Isak's header, Billy's right there. It's been given a very high XG value of 0.42. So you normally score 1 out of 2 of those. It just depends if the keeper's in the right place and is very reactionary. There's not much point in going further into it. If I scroll down, you can see second half. Our second half XG was very high at 2.35. We really pushed in the second half because we had to bring on the big guns. We brought on all the big guns to try and turn the screw, and it wasn't enough, unfortunately. We lost. I don't know how Lascelles is getting a 7 from FOTMob. They're absolutely throwing there.
Yeah, well, we'll have our own say on that shortly. Guys, we've had over 1,100 watching tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much to everybody that's been joining us for the show. If you are enjoying the show, as usual, please do hit the like button. It does really help us with the algorithm on YouTube. And of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, lots to come on this channel over the course of the season and off season. We have many people subscribe to us who aren't Newcastle fans either, who just like the football banter. So please do hit the subscribe button, free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, schedule a show or a video does come out. You can become a member of the Toon Review if you hit the join button just underneath the video. And of course, super chats are available if you want to donate to the channel by hitting that $ at the bottom of the live comments. And of course, we have a merchandise website, which you can find right here.
So let's get down to business.
I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it.
Let's get down to business.
So there you go, guys. The toonreview.co.uk is the place to go for your merch. I must say, like somebody, a Sheffield Wednesday fan left a comment yesterday on my watch along, and because I commented that Sheffield Wednesday scored the first goal and it was against the run of play, and they took me to task, which I found bizarre because it was against the run of play. We were having the most of the game. I just wish that, yes, they scored. Yes, brilliant for them, but it was against the run of play.
Can I just mention the first goal?
Yeah, you can, Billy, yeah.
Compare that, the way we defended to the way Sheffield went to defend it for the whole game. Diving in front of the balls, making challenges when it mattered. Not one challenge came in for that goal. Not one. Not one from Lewis, not one from Botman, and not one from Lascelles at the end.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have got that far with Sheffield Wednesday the way they were defending yesterday. They wanted to get in the way of balls. Simple as that.
Yeah, it was a poor goal. There was a couple. It was two very poor goals. I mean, I think the second one was a little bit unlucky because I think Bruno was trying to head that across to Manquillo, and Joe Linton stuck out a leg and it bounced off his leg and set them away. It was a bit one of them, wasn't it? It was, but when things aren't going for you like they weren't yesterday, they don't go for you at all. Alex, what's this one?
That's attacking momentum. So exactly what you guys are talking about. We're in blue. So yes, everything was against the run of play when they had the ball. They were just productive and efficient with it. They had some really nice passages of play when they were on the ball, to be fair. We were just poor. But you can see there, yeah, it was all us.
Yeah. Can we ask Isak and Wilson to play at the same time? It depends. I think they can, but I don't think Eddie will. That's the difference. Where's he going to play? Right or left of Callum? I don't know.
He was asked this in a... No. That was just me.
Oh, that's just you.
Putting the screen back to the main page of SofaScore.
No problem.
No, Eddie Howe did get asked that in a press conference last year, didn't he? If he'd play 2 up top, and he said no. Unless he's changed his mind since then. But the last time he was ever asked, which is, again, why do the journalists not ask this question? But he was asked about this a year ago. And he said, no, he doesn't want to play 2 up top. He's... So that's... But
and you can see that.
News.
And you can see that because Chris Wood would thrive with 2 up top. Well, thrive. He'd be better than what he is 1 up top. And he hasn't.
That's what he was used to at Burnley, wasn't it? Magpie would go 4-4-2. He'd go, obviously, the goalkeeper, but he'd go Burnshare, Botman, Trippier, Maxi, Joe Linton, Bruno, Almiron, Isak, and Wilson. I mean, it's not a bad 4-4-2, is it, to be fair?
We'd probably go over one in the middle of the park, though, wouldn't we?
I think we would. I think you underestimate how much work is done by the midfielders, and there's a reason we play the way we do. I think if we were going to change, I think we'd change to like a 4-2-3-1 and play a 10. I don't think we'd go with a 4-4-2.
Tony says their first goal was offside, but we can't have any complaints about the second goal. Well, ours was offside as well, so we can't say anything. Ours was miles offside, to be fair. How the linesman missed that, I'll never know. Keith says, take nothing away from Wednesday. They played us off the pitch. The thing is, they're a first division team. We should be pushing them aside. I don't think they played us off the pitch. I mean, they defended for their lives, which you've got to praise them for. They were fantastic defensively. No doubt about that. Mark says you can't fight on three fronts, 2 cups and the league on this squad. I agree with that, but that's why we need to rebuild. Well, get rid of the dead wood, bring in quality for quality.
I think we could have done if we weren't missing. We've had recent issues with Maxi and Shelby. I think with those two in the team, it makes a difference. It makes enough of a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. Magic Mole is clearly not a fan of Maxi. 3 good games a season doesn't wash. I thought it was a huge risk having Martin and Alexander starting. Well, Isak Isak did well, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing him when he's match fit because he is a fantastic player. Lee says, I know we want Wood gone, but a side note, Anderson's miss yesterday was worse than Wood's.
It was a bad one. It was good second keeper. It was on target, though, wasn't it? It was on target.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he forced the keeper to make a save, which is more than what Chris Wood did. It's as simple as that. Jenny says, if we have all the injury drama, then Wood should have tried even harder. Lascelles was atrocious, slow, clumsy, and no leadership qualities whatsoever. Well, nothing changes with that, does it? I mean, that's just the way it is. Has Kowal got a work permit? Yes, he has, John. Joe Linton was head and shoulders above everyone, in my opinion, says Bede. Elliot Anderson will improve. Murphy and Wood, etc., won't. Fair on Dubravka, but he didn't actually have a bad game.
I think he did. I think he had a poor game.
No end product from Manquillo, no composure in the final third.
Well, he played a couple of excellent crosses.
Yeah, I think it's just referring to that one that he got round the keeper, and look, he was stretching for that. And
bombed it to get there. Bloody hell!
Yeah,
like, he's again, like I said, he is a third choice right back. If my third choice right back can do that, that's fine. You've got to remember, as Billy's already said, there was like 8 changes. If we played our first team and Manquillo, I don't mind if he can do that. If he does that when our first team players are on the pitch, then that's enough, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
Somebody called TR. Look at that, guys.
I think they've got Man City away next round, so unlucky.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. So that'll be
beat Oxford, did they?
Yeah, but that'll be no. They play tomorrow. They haven't beaten Oxford yet, but they are. I think
I wouldn't say anything until you play the Oxford game.
I know.
You be careful. Villa have just done that and tempted fate, and they're out. So I'd be careful, Arsenal fans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tom Lynch has posted a few times about a bit of a safety issue at Hillsborough. I don't know if
I do want to address that because he's not the only one that said that. Now, obviously, we know the awful situation at Hillsborough with the Liverpool fans, and God rest their souls, they'll never be forgotten. And Justice for the 96 done a wonderful job with that and sorting. But it does not look to me as if many improvements have been made. And I did say to you guys on Thursday night, didn't I, about Hillsborough and that away end. And I said, even when I was there for a friendly, I didn't really feel safe. And, going in yesterday, apparently they were all searched and bundled in, and it just hasn't improved. And I've seen some Liverpool fan groups coming out and in support of the Newcastle fans, saying that, despite what happened all those years ago, it really, really does need a revamp, some of Hillsborough, including the Leppens Lane end, which is clearly still not great. And it's scary moments for the Newcastle fans. I mean, Tom said he didn't really feel really scared, but he felt uncomfortable. And that's enough for me. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable going into a football ground these days in this day and age. So, Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, obviously money's tight at the club. We know that. But at the same time, if you're going to put fans at risk, don't open the stand. It's as simple as that.
If they can go and beat Fleetwood, then they'll get reasonable money. They could go and improve it slightly.
Yeah, I mean, Fleetwood, I know. Where would Fleetwood rather play? Hillsborough or St James's? Foxy says Dubravka seems a very easy target now. Obviously not Pope's level, but we didn't get knocked out because of him. 2 goals that top keepers maybe saved, but no serious errors and some decent saves.
It wasn't just about that for me though. It was about just his when he made a save or when he got the ball, it was just so slow to move out and make a decision where to throw, who to throw it to, when to roll it out, when to kick. It would just. I know he's not Pope, but there should be an effort to make him play more like Pope. There should be an expectation of this is how we want our goalkeepers to play in this system. So, Martin, you need to try and play in this way. And it just seems like he's playing in his old way, which doesn't suit who we are at all. I just don't get that. Fine, yeah, they needed to be exceptional saves, but again, I think Pope maybe saved one of them. It's possible. He's competent enough.
I don't think the second goal would have happened. I think Pope would have been out to it like a shot, and
especially with the sweep in, it's very possible. So I don't know. I just want to see. It's more about his mannerisms. It's more about his movement, his positioning. He's just not playing the way Pope does, and I think it's things that he could do. I think he could play that way. Soon as you get the ball in hands, quick up, move to the edge of your box. Who can I throw it to? Where am I going? It's just also slow.
Sean's got a good point as well. Isn't it a kick in the teeth for Carl Darlow not getting the game when Dubravka comes straight back after wanting to leave the club?
Karius as well. Karius is...
Yeah.
Well, is Karius still at Newcastle? Nobody seems
Nobody
to know.
knows. I've got no idea.
Yeah, dear. Andy says he's already scared and nervous for Tuesday. A massive game. I'm not scared, Andy. I'm really looking forward to it. Apart from being in level 7, I'm a lot closer to the barrier this time, so I will be standing up and cheering on. I just hope we put on a performance. I hope we really go out there and just turn it on and absolutely destroy Leicester and move into the next round. But we'll see. Too many drama queens in our fan base. Everyone's got them, Tony, unfortunately. James says, on a positive note, even on a bad night with our team, the watch-along shows are bloody amazing. Thanks, James. Really appreciate that. Shooting practice for tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, look, that needs to be addressed, Billy. The shooting is just the last few games has been woeful.
Yeah, 1 goal in 3 games now. Got to be a bit concerning. We've had chances too, as we pointed out tonight. The chance we've had, I think someone said earlier, we've got a 5 XG for the last 3 games. We've got 1. So, yeah, these shots going over the bar. It's not just Woods doing it. We've seen Joe Linton do it. We've seen Matt Ritchie do it. There's got to be some kind of coaching going on, big time. Yeah. Should have been in there today. Lean forward when you shoot, not lean back. It's common knowledge. It's schoolboy stuff, to be honest.
Absolutely. Terrible finishing, to be honest. Karius is contracted to the end of the month, apparently. Yeah, I'm sure it was January that he was. It wasn't the 31st of December. I'm pretty sure it was the end of January, to be honest. But again, I'm sure the club will let us know in time when it's fair enough to. Answers just have to take it on the chin and move on. But would have been nice to go through, though. Yes, it would. Good evening to Jabba Dabba Doo. Beat says, Paul, your reaction to Wood auditioning for the John Smith's advert was TV gold. Yeah, a few people have timestamped that on the watch along and put it in the comments. Apparently, I lost my temper. Rightly so. I thought it was 2-2. It was a simple tap in. Fez, good evening. Villa losing 2-1 in the dying minutes of the game takes a sting out of yesterday a little bit, but Wood needs to go. I've seen better finishing from a one-legged donkey. I've never seen a one-legged donkey, Fez, but was it Amsterdam you saw that one-legged donkey? Interesting. Lascelles looks more comfortable being booked on the sidelines. Yep. 100% agree with that. No doubt about it. Right. It's time for the player ratings. This is going to be interesting. We'll start off with, obviously, Dubravka. And Billy, we will start off with you.
I'm going to give him 5. I thought it was awful. I thought the one good save in the free kick. Apart from that, I just thought he was shaky. Just not up for the modern game. He stays in his line too much. He stays in his 6-yard box too much. Doesn't concentrate enough. 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to 5 as well. I think there's something about that first goal doesn't sit right with me. The second goal, I think he should have been way off his line. But whether that's because we're used to the brilliant sweeper keeping of Nick Pope over this season that we just forget that all goalkeepers aren't like that. No, 4 out of 10 for me. Simon May, no, it's not percentage, mate. It's 4 out of 10. 5 out of 10, sorry. It's not percentage. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, before you guys said anything, I was thinking 5 or 6. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I say. It's going to be a 5, so I'll just go with 5. We've already talked about him. It's I understand what Foxy's saying. It's unfair to expect him to be Nick Pope. I get that, but I didn't think it was particularly strong. This is a very experienced keeper that's played in multiple international tournaments for Slovakia. He's played for us for a long time. He's not a joke keeper, and I wanted a little bit better, to be fair.
And I think it's the manner of him coming straight into the team ahead of Darlow. I think it's
a little bit disrespectful, isn't it?
A little bit disrespectful, yeah. Right, moving across to right back, Javier Manquillo. Alex.
I want to give him a reasonable mark. I think I'd give him a 7. I think there were a few times we got in trouble. He wandered off forwards attacking, and we lost the ball for reasons that weren't his fault. And we had to try and cover the right space. But it's not his fault that other people lost the ball and he's gone on a run. He went through a few times. He seemed, considering he's not played, he was quite quick, nice and pacey, few good crosses in. He's not Trippier, obviously, but like I said, for a third choice, I think he played all right. I'd give him, in the context of the game, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, Billy?
Yeah, I agree with that. All what Alex just said there, 7 out of 10 for me. I thought he was very, very fair. I thought he put in 100% effort. I thought he would have died for the cause up and down that line all night. Went over to the left side and looked just as attacking there. Yeah, 7's fair.
Yeah, he was one of the only ones working from the original lot. He was working his arse off into the dying minutes as well. And he must have been tired. He's not played a full game. We've got to remember he's not played a full game, has he? In God knows how long. 92, 93, 94th minute. He's trying his best, bombing it forward. So
absolutely. Right, on the other side, I've got 7 written down for Manquillo anyway, so for all the points that have been made. Across to left back, Jamal Lewis. I'm going to start with Jamal, and I'm giving him a 5. I thought he grew into the game a bit more, but he got no support from Jacob Murphy. Absolute bollocks. And Lewis, he did start off very dodgy. He had a dreadful first 10 minutes, but I thought he grew a little bit into the game, and I'm going to give him a 5. Billy?
Yeah, I think 5's fair. Like you say, the beginning of the first 10 minutes, bad passes, throwing the ball to the team, which was in a dangerous area. I think 5's fair.
Alex?
I'd give him a 4. I don't think it was quite a 5. If we're giving Dubravka a 5, I can't give Lewis a 5 because he had a worse game, in my opinion. And
yeah,
I think I'll give him a 4. I mean, there were a few moments where he grew offensively. You can see it gave us a little glimpse of what our team might look like with an attacking left back. A few nice little overlaps where he was fast, but I just never felt confident with anybody passing in the ball from the back. Not at all. He couldn't handle it. No communication. Couldn't get any passing sequences. He just looked so nervous. And again, I understand he's not played in a long time, but he won one ground duel. He played the whole game, didn't he? No, he got subbed. I think he got subbed off for Trippier. But even so, what did he play? 69 minutes.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old, and he'll be 25 this January.
He's not a kid.
Yeah, a 4. Not good enough. That's it now.
We move to Jamal Lascelles. Billy?
I'm going to give him a 3. Just from the supposed club captain, I thought it was a really poor performance. No leadership. Farcical attempt to play in the offside rule. passing was bad. The header he tried to head back to, it was him, wasn't it, with the header that tried to get across to Manquillo. Went about 60 foot in the air and down about a yard from him, and the bloke snipped in. It was just a comedy of errors from minute 1 to minute 90. So 3 for me.
Yeah, he gets a 3 from me as well. I thought he was just dreadful. I just have no faith in Jamal Lascelles. I worry when we try and play it out from the back when Lascelles is in the team because he just gets the ball. His passing's atrocious. His actual mentality on the pitch, it's all over the place. He doesn't seem to know where he needs to be. He keeps, stepping up for offsides that are just no chance of getting an offside call, and he still does it time and time again. His positioning is terrible. So a 3 for me, Alex.
I'm going to go with a 4.
Oh.
But again, looking at his stats suggest he had an okay game. 72 out of 78 passes. He won most of his duels, but this is where you've got to take stats with a pinch of salt. It doesn't factor in that half of those passes and half of those duels were really nervy ones. Yeah. That's not reflected in the statistics. And I think, a 4, I think there could be a case to be made for me, even for a 3 as well. When you factor in he's the club captain, he gets rated on an extra level compared to the rest of the lads. He's got an extra job on that pitch, which is be the leader. And he didn't do that at all, not once. So my 4 turns into a 3 overall anyway. So not good enough.
No problem. Dan says, I think some of the ratings are a bit harsh. If Wood scores and we replay, I think they would be a bit higher. I'm not sure, mate, but that's what these are all about opinions.
If Wood scores that chance, I don't change my Jamal Lewis rating.
I don't change my Lascelles rating either, to be honest. I thought he was awful. Right, moving on to the other centre-back, which is, of course, Sven Botman. Alex?
I think he can have a 7 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was fine. It was strange seeing him flapping a bit because we don't normally have to see him flapping. Yeah. But I think he was having to do it because, again, cleaning up other people's messes. Was he 4 out of 6 ground drills, 4 out of 7 aerials?
I'm sorry, hang on. Annie, what the hell are you? I mean, really? I mean, you clearly don't watch Newcastle enough, mate, to realise what Botman had to do last night and who he was playing alongside. Sorry, Alex.
Well, he had 9 accurate long balls, which was exceptional. His shot, when he pulled the trigger, was quite close, quite impressive for a centre-back shot as well. I thought he was fine. I thought it was a 7. He's not the reason we lost at all. He put in an okay performance. Yeah,
I've gone with a 7 as well for exactly that. I think the times he had... he just looked around thinking, what the hell is going on here? But a lot more positive going forward as well. Billy?
I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he should have put challenging him for the goal.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it looked shakier, but then again, the people with him is going to be, and the people behind him, I'm guessing that's not, unusual for him. I'm not going to hate Tom Jones there. But 6 for me.
Okie doke. Annie says, I wasn't impressed with him in the game. Just my opinion. Yeah, he wasn't at his outright best, Annie, but he certainly wasn't a 3. I think that's very, very harsh on Sven Botman. Right, into the midfield. And, who played yesterday? We had... we'll start off with Sean Longstaff. Billy?
I thought he played really well first half. But second half, I think he faded quite a lot. Mm-hmm. I think 6 is fair for him also.
Okay. I've gone with a 7 for Sean Longstaff. I thought, again, I think he put himself around yesterday. He was up and down the field. But again, you look at what was around him sometimes, and he's used to having a lot more quality alongside him, to be honest. So that's why I'm giving him a 7. Alex?
I think a 7 as well. I think he did absolutely fine for the time he was on the pitch. I think he looked like one of the senior players compared to a lot of the fringe players that were on the pitch. 40 out of 43 passes, which is exceptional, 93% pass accuracy, completed all 3 of his long balls that he attempted, didn't give away any fouls, but drew 2 of his own, got a couple of tackles, won 4 out of 5 ground duels. It was very, very, very safe, competent. Again, we know he's not a technical wizard. We get that, but he did exactly what he was on the pitch to do, and he did it to the level required. He's not the reason we lost. He played in a good ball to Isak as well. I don't think he did anything wrong.
Yeah. We move on to Elliot Anderson. I'm going to give Anderson a 4. He had a big chance yesterday, Elliot, but for me, he wasn't in his natural position yesterday. Should have scored without a doubt. Keeper made a good save, but he should be scoring from 3 yards out. He really should. But overall, a 4. Alex?
Yeah, I don't want to give him a harsh rating, but it was a 4 performance, wasn't it? Yeah. Mistakes. I mean, I would argue that people
that back pass was horrendous.
Yeah, it was. I would argue for some of the other times he lost the ball, he required a shout. There were so many times, I've mentioned this 3 times now, this is the 4th time. People were not giving each other man on shouts. Not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. Disgraceful. At any level of football, you say man on, you give your teammates a hand. If they can't scan every second. Yeah, a 4. I really don't want to because I really like him, but I think he was played out of position, like you said, and I think he struggled a little bit to get into the game. All that being said, the people on that sort of left side, he'd got sort of Lewis and Murphy to pass to and link up with, which can't have helped at all.
No, definitely not. Billy?
Yeah, I think I'll give him a 5. I thought he did some good things, but a lot of bad things also. So midway between 0 and 10, I guess 5 for me.
Okay. Foxy says Anderson had a chance to prove his worth but failed. He's stagnated since his loan. Needs a good championship loan. 4 out of 10. Right, we move on.
Adding on to that Eddie said he's not going to go out on loan as well.
Yeah. And he says he can't give him a high rating. Ex-gas prick. Of course, because he went on loan to Bristol Rovers. We move on to Joe Linton. I'm giving Joe a 9. I thought he was excellent yesterday. I thought his tackling most of the time when Joe Linton got the ball, he had 3 players on him. And he managed to dismiss the 3 players most of the time. And I just thought he was all over the pitch. He did really well. Almost scored a fantastic goal. It just couldn't get it. It was cleared away by good defending. But I just love Joe at the minute. I just love him. And I think he was the driving force, the heartbeat of the team yesterday. But he didn't have the quality around him. And that's what sort of failed for Joe. But because he stood out so much from the rest of the team, he had to be a 9 for me. Billy?
I'll give him an 8. I thought it was great, but at fault for... First, I can't remember which goal it was.
Oh, hang on, Billy. I'm sorry. I've just seen a comment come in, which is absolutely ludicrous. KT says, stop blaming poor performances on others around them. That's not fair. Wood missed his chance because the ball from Joe Linton was too slow. What a pathetic thing to say, KT. Look, I'm sorry, but you called out on that, matey. That is a massive Castoria. What a really stupid thing to say. And if you're trying to wind me up, you've done a good job. That is a ridiculous statement.
I'm going to say KT's from New Zealand.
Absolute ridiculous thing to say. The ball was too slow.
I'm pretty sure he is from New Zealand because we looked at this last week, didn't we, on a show?
Yeah, maybe. But he's had a Castoria with that. You've made yourself look a bit silly in there. But there you go. Sorry, go on, Billy.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for Joe Linton for me. I thought it was outstanding. He was slightly at fault for one of the goals. But I think if the rest of the team had showed the same commitment that Joe Linton did, we wouldn't have lost the game.
Oh, KT then says it was a joke. All right, then we'll let you off. But why don't you put laughing emojis at the end of your thing so we know it's a joke? Jesus. Anyway, Alex, Joe Linton.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8. Purely, again, he was at fault in some of the build-up. But that being said...
Just deflected off his leg, wasn't it? I mean, he thought that the ball... I think he thought that Bruno had over sort of powered the header. I think he thought he was knocking it down to him, and he's just trying to trap it down.
It's just unfortunate. It was a bit unlucky, but again, 8 is still an extremely high score in the game that we lost. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the same as I normally do about Maxi. Joe Linton was robbed of assists. I think there was a few times where he should have given people. He did give people goal scoring opportunities. The highest value one being, of course, the Wood miss. So, completed all of his dribbles. He put himself about a lot, played the entire game to a high level, drew 3 fouls, couple of smart interceptions. Looks like a really strong senior pro and was very above Wednesday's level, but just people weren't on his, very much like how Isak was in the first half. I think there are a few players on that pitch that were trying things that the surrounding players weren't. just weren't able to keep up with. They weren't able to read them. Certain passing sequences and movements that Isak and Joelinton were doing, and the others were just like, no, they couldn't. They could not compute it. They weren't moving.
Yeah.
Joelinton 8 was all right.
Yeah. And he makes a good point about that first goal. It wasn't 3 Newcastle midfielders; it was 2 that he spun and just went through. I think Longstaff and Anderson.
Yeah, it was.
They
were naive with that. I mean, Longstaff's should have been a bit more switched on to that.
Yeah, but if Bruno or Joelinton had done that to 2 opposition players,
they should have just fouled him.
Well, yeah, but if that Sheffield Wednesday player was Bruno or Joelinton, would be praising him to the hilt, saying, "Oh, what a turn that was," And look, did what he did, and it ended up
brilliant bit of play. Brilliant bit of play.
I thought it was, yeah. Right, we move to the front right hand side with Matt Ritchie, Alex.
Oh, it's a tough one because I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed watching him play again. I've missed watching him play. Not in all context. I hated watching him play at Tranmere because it was a game where he needed his legs and he didn't have any. Whereas this game, he got the ball in sort of slower areas when we had a lot of control, and we were able to see some of his really good technical quality, and it was lovely. How did he do in the game? I don't know, really. I think a lot of the time he was just kind of on autopilot to a degree, but I don't know. I don't know what to give him. I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7, but I think is it a generous 7? I don't know. I'll give him a 7. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong. He didn't. I don't remember him being involved in any of these silly mistake sequences that we've referenced.
No, but he should have hit the target in the second half of that shot on the edge of the box that he ballooned over.
Well, it was his right foot, wasn't it?
Well, he had a lot of time, to be fair, Alex. He had a lot of time.
Matt Ritchie does not have a right foot.
Well, I know that, but he could have put it onto his left. He could have put it onto his left. He had loads of time. I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was steady away. I mean, apart from that miss, I don't think he did much. He didn't do anything wrong for me. He also got a really nasty tackle as well on his ankle.
I was a bit concerned that had ended his Newcastle career, to be fair. But
it was awful.
He got a hole in his sock.
Yeah, it was a terrible, terrible tackle. But there you go. Billy?
I think I'll give him a 6 too. Didn't do anything outstanding, but his set pieces were really good. And in fact, so much so, I thought actually he should have stayed on when Trippier came on.
He got 4 key passes. That's a lot.
A couple of free kicks in the first half were beauties, absolute beauties. But unfortunately, we couldn't convert. Onto the other side, Jacob Murphy. And I'm going to give Jacob Murphy a 2 simply because he was rotten. And we'll move on. Billy?
I'll give him a 1 for getting his boots on.
Okay. That's fair. Alex?
I'll give him a 3. I can't give him any higher than that. 1 error leading to shot. He got 1 cross, and that was literally his job. 1 key pass. I can't remember which one that was.
Listen,
I don't know. I can't. Again, I said what. I'll repeat what I said earlier, just a short version of it. He gets himself in these really good positions. So he's intelligent enough and good enough to be able to do that, but he just doesn't do anything with it. No, it's such a waste of brain and talent because he's got a little bit. He just a 3. I feel sorry for him because he went through a phase of improving and being quite useful for the team, and that was so poor. It was a real shame.
That's long gone now, Alex. That for me. I'm sick of seeing the same substitutions.
Well, it was post Tranmere, wasn't it? We gave him a 1 for his Tranmere performance.
Yeah.
And then he had a handful of performances that were really good, and we were like, okay, if he can provide this, then he's useful as a squad player. And now it's just gone down recently again. It's really sad.
Yeah. Right. Alexander Isak. Billy?
45 minutes. I thought he did really well for the 45 minutes. Just the one chance he should have scored. I think 6 is fair. Yeah.
Alex?
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was good. Yeah, his 2 shots on target were good. He drew 2 fouls because he was clever. I was really impressed with how he didn't look lethargic at all.
No, he didn't.
All of our players that come back from injury, Maxi, Wilson, they all look a little bit sluggish for a while. Isak was just like, nope, I'm going straight away. And he looked like he was playing at a reasonably good level immediately, which is really promising. So yeah, a 7. I was quite excited for that. I think it was a shame he didn't score. It's a shame he couldn't have played an hour really, but I think it was for the best. He only played a half.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give him a 6 with Billy. I think he should have scored that header. Look, you could blame it to rustiness or what. A clear header like that for the experience that he's got. I don't think it matters about fitness. I think even if he was, had a putt on his left leg, he should have still scored that. But listen, he looks really good, and it's really exciting for us as fans to look forward to Isak getting back to match fitness.
He's still not that older, but it is worth remembering he's not. He's only just turned 23 a few months ago, so he's
absolutely.
He's only older than Botman and Anderson in that lineup. He's the third youngest.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these lads are 26, 27, 28 and have got a lot of experience. So he's still fairly young to a level.
Yeah. Malcolm Taylor, thanks for your £10 super chat. He says, evening all. It's good to be back watching this fantastic show. I apologise for my enforced absence after suffering a heart attack. Good to see you guys, and best wishes to Danielle and all at the Toon Review. Malcolm, pleased you're okay, and pleased you're on the road to recovery. Keep yourself healthy and fit, mate. And I'm glad you're back with us. And as I say, stick around in the chat for the shows and be part of this community. I'm sure that'll make you feel better as well, mate. Right, something that doesn't make me feel better is having to do Chris Wood. He gets a 1. I'm sick and tired of him. I'm fed up of him missing sitters. He just brings nothing to that football team at all. And he was just rotten yesterday. So he gets a 1 from me. Alex?
Yeah, I don't know how I can give him any more than a 1. He was just poor. With
everybody in the chat's actually giving him a 0. But...
0 out of 3 ground duels. Again, we've complained about him not being able to just win the ball on the floor. He's a unit. He's got to be winning the ball on the floor.
Yeah.
Just, even when the big hitters came on, it didn't seem to help. He found himself on sort of the edge of the D a few times. It's like, get in the 6-yard box, for God's sake. We're playing it around. We're making everybody's surrounding the box. Get in the 6-yard box. He was constantly wandering around the D. I just, frustrating. I'd had enough. I've tweeted him out last night. I tweeted Chris Wood needs to go this window. I appreciate he won't go out this window, but I've lost patience with him now. That's enough. I'm just bored of it. It's not even playing at a third choice striker level. I would rather have a youth player play instead. I'm just bored of it.
Yeah. Welcome back to the chat, Jason. I hope you're well, buddy. Wood minus 25 million out of 10, and that's been kind. I've seen a few comments from you, Jason, since yesterday. You've never been a fan, and rightly so. He's pretty annoyed with him. Right, the substitutions.
I'm Matt Wood, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Billy. He obviously very much wants to give Chris Wood a rating. Go for it.
Well, I'll give Jacob Murphy a 1 for getting his boots on. I'm going to give him a 0. Although he got his boots on, the way he played, I think he had him on the wrong fucking feet. He contributed absolutely nothing. And in fact, he was more of an asset to Wednesday than he was to us. 0. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Chris Wood, what is he good for? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I see where you went there, Billy. Nice one. I see why you were desperate to get your rating in there for that little phrase at the end.
I also, as a striker, can I just point this out? As a striker, for some reason he's got down error led to shot. So I can't remember what he did, but apparently he did something wrong. He made a mistake which led to a shot for the opposition. I don't remember that. What was that?
Well, I will remember Paul saying Wood gets the ball, gives it away. I wasn't surprised. Of course he does.
Yeah, but for a striker to have that stat is quite rare, because normally it'll be a centre-back that loses the ball and it's an error leading to a shot, but he's somehow managed to get that on his profile, so shocking.
Yeah. Right, the substitutes that then came on were Bruno, Miggy and Willock. Now, I mean, look, Bruno and Miggy, I'm going to give them a 6. I don't think they were particularly... Bruno sort of was doing Bruno stuff, but there was nothing in front of him, to be honest, and nothing came about. And I'm giving a 4 to Joe Willock, because I just think Willock was off the pace yesterday. Billy,
I'll give Bruno a 7 because I thought he really, really did try and push us forward and geared the team up. Willock will give a 5. Miggy, I don't think suits a team that sits back. Basically, He struggles when teams sit back against him. Palace, Bournemouth. Yesterday, obviously, Wednesday is sitting back. Don't think he contributed much, so I'll give him a 6.
Yep. Alex?
I think Bruno deserves a 7. I thought he was very good.
Right.
He was in the position for the goal. You know, he drew fouls. He was clever. He won most of his duels, 2 dribbles, a couple of long balls. He was very tidy. We needed to keep the ball and try and create things. He was 43 out of 45 passes. He knew the importance of keeping the ball and trying to make things happen. He was trying to link up with Trippier and really careful about retaining possession and try and get it in dangerous areas. Definitely a 7 for Bruno. Miggy, I think I'll give him a 6 for the same reasons you've said. I don't think he suits playing against low blocks. I don't think he's got the brain to play against the low block. I do appreciate he tried to go to the byline. He tried to cut in another shot, but it just doesn't work in a low block. He struggles. Joe Willock, I'll give him a 6. I think he's better than people were making out. A few key passes. The ball went through to him and he tried to scramble a shot away in the 6-yard box, but there were too many bodies in the way. I thought he was doing all the right things. I think he was trying. I'll give him a 6. Yeah, that's all of them, right? Yeah.
Well, Trippier,
69 minutes.
Listen, Trippier gets an 8 from me simply for that pass. It was just absolutely sublime. But he wasn't on very long, was he, to be fair? 10 minutes or so. Alex?
Yeah, he gets an 8. SofaScore says he played 21 minutes, 5 accurate crosses. That's insane. Yeah. That's a lot of people don't normally get that in 90 minutes. So 5 accurate crosses. He attempted 8, 5 found a teammate. He got an accurate long ball. The passing at 86% passing accuracy, and considering pretty much every other pass, he was trying to play some crazy ball because he was just trying to get us going. An elite level player, brilliant. Managed to draw a foul as well for us. Yeah. So considering he's only played just over 20 minutes, he did so much in the game in the 20-minute period. He gets an 8. Yeah, amazing.
Yep. Billy?
I think 8's fair. Yeah, I think when he came on, firstly, he did put the corner in that we scored from. And like you say, that volleyed pass, which was world-class, the vision he showed first, and then to actually carry it off with the technique was just amazing. So, 8 out of 10. 20 minutes play, pretty phenomenal.
Indeed. And finally, Eddie Howe. Tough one for me because, I mean, I think the players let him down, but did he make too many changes? I mean, where do you go on this? I'm going with a 6. Alex?
I'm going to give him an 8. I think he did really well. I think he made the changes. It's necessary to make the changes. Players are getting injured in training. Shelby got injured in training. I think it was time to give. We're in the Carabao quarterfinals. I think this was an opportunity because he can't just leave players on the bench the entire season. He's got to give Manquillo something. He's got to give Lewis some minutes. You can't just phase 5 people out of a club. It's not fair. He's got to give them a go. This was him giving them a go. They failed. It's not his fault. He's got to give them a go at some point, and this was that. I thought his substitutions were brilliant. Were a perfect time for all of them. It was, he brought Isak off because he got his 45 minutes. I thought he made, Willock, Bruno, and Miggy were the right substitutions early enough to try and make a difference. And then he just thought only 9 minutes later he went maybe a little bit more. Okay, Trippier as well. He pulled the trigger at the right times of the substitutions. I don't know what more he could do as a manager or the whole coaching team could do in that situation. I don't think they should be negatively rated for picking people like Lascelles. It's not their fault. They're not good enough. They've tried their best. It is what it is. I thought they did all right. I'm going to give him an 8 because I think he managed the game well enough. He can't stop, poor quality. He's not on the pitch.
There's not a lot of agreement in the chat, Alex. People are going for 6. But
that's
again,
fine.
it's all about opinions. Billy?
I'll give him a 6, but there'll be a caveat to it because if we were to lose on Tuesday, I think he'll regret playing the team he played yesterday. So if we lose tomorrow, I'll drop that down to a 4 because he'll regret it. He will regret it.
Well, it's interesting. The fans, of course, get a 10. Absolutely superb support from Newcastle again yesterday. But that is it for the match review. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Of course, it's now water under the bridge, and we go again Tuesday night when we take on Leicester City in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. It's a very exciting match. Now, tomorrow, we are going to bring you 2 shows. We've got a transfer show early afternoon with me and Alex. And we'll also bring you any latest news that comes out of the club tomorrow morning. So join us at 2 p.m. for that one. That okay for you, Alex? Yeah, so we go at 2 p.m. with me and Alex for a transfer show, and then the 3 of us will be back at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, not 7, 8 p.m. tomorrow night with the Newcastle versus Leicester match preview, where we'll have a look at how the game is going to be won, and obviously our team predictions, score predictions, and things like that. So please join us tomorrow for that. So 2 live shows tomorrow for you guys, and any other news that comes out in the morning, I may do a video if it's worth doing, if it's newsworthy. If not, me and Alex will bring you the latest news with all the transfer news tomorrow on the transfer show at 2 o'clock. And then the 3 of us will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you to all the new members, the super chatters. Thank you to the mods again for a fantastic job as per usual. Thank you to Billy and Alex, but mainly also thank you to you guys out there for spending your Sunday evening with us. Over 1,100 watching at one stage, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for keep returning. Please do hit the like button before you leave the show if you wouldn't mind. It really does help us on YouTube. And of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit that red subscribe button. It is free to do so. Become part of the community. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, upload, or we schedule in any shows. And of course, you can become a member as well if you hit the join button just underneath. And that will put you in the hat for various freebies. But thank you very much for watching. Me and Alex will see you at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And the 3 of us will see you back at 8 o'clock tomorrow night as well. But in the meantime, guys, have a fantastic evening. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.